strategy and consulting. Two words that sound exciting but often a bit intimidating for MBA students. How do you actually build that consultant mindset? How do classroom learnings turn into solving real world business challenges? To help us understand this better, we have with us someone who has lived this journey from being a student leader at UPES to now working in strategy domain for one of the India's renewable energy companies. Welcome to the UPS Alumni podcast. I am Lalit and today's guest is Mr. Digvijay Pratap Singh, management trainee at Suzlon Energy Limited and MBA in strategy and consulting from UPES and the president of KOSHU, the Strategy Society. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. It's a real pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure is all mine. And we actually wanted something like this by viewer students. So feeling really happy that we could actually contact with.
Let's start from the beginning. When you started your MBA journey, were you always clear about choosing strategy and consulting, or did that interest develop gradually?
Well, if I have to be very honest with it, uh, I was looking for domains which were business analytics or operations or logistics. So there was a team from India that was sent to Lucknow where we got to interact with a lot of professors. And then after getting my profile reviewed by them, they were the ones who actually said that it would be best if you could go through this program that we have, which is a very unique and one of its kind. It is strategy and consulting along with KPMG. So one thing that stuck with me was KPMG, and they actually explained me that people who will be coming from KPMG will not be professors, but they'll be actually working over there. So that thing stuck with me, and that was uh, one time where I really decided that I am going with this.
You also have a background in digital marketing before MBA. How did that experience influence your analytical thinking or the way you approached business problems?
Lalit, to be very honest, before doing the digital marketing, I never really believed much in database decision making. And I was always of this belief that you need to have that experience to make better decisions and all of that. But it was only during those 6 months of my stint with a leading in firm in digital marketing said that I read that in the era that we're living in, if we don't actually use data
Yes.
to drive all the decisions that we do, then in a way or another, we will be losing out that strategic advantage. So during those 6 months, all I actually saw was that a lot of decisions were being made which were completely data based, and that changed a lot. So before I looked data as something you have to we have a data, you process it, you analyze it, it's a process. But after those 6 months, it was like that is the primary. So database decision making, how to use that data, how to manage it, how to get insights from it in a timely manner is something that I learned during those 6 months. And now when I am at the helm of six very important projects for my firm also, now it's coming very handy for me because while in the planning stage itself, I'm very clear that, this is how I want my data to be recorded. Why? Because if we record it in this way, then in future, we'll be able to get these insights, which will help us run the project smooth- smoothly. So that's how the entire thing really kicks in for me.
Sir, that's a very important insight because a lot of students struggle with clarity early on. It's nice to know that we can evolve with time also.
I'm just adding on over here. A lot of people who have not had a very nice stint with data management earlier, if they did come out and join strategy and consulting or for that data analytics also, it only takes one good project and that you are very lucky to get very early on, much because of KPMG and promotion. But got certain projects where even people who had no skill with data management earlier, they saw that, if we have this data, then the decision making changes from north to south. a complete blatant yes turns to a no. So it is one project that you require where you have actually seen the effect that a good data set can actually make and your ability to comprehend that into actionable insights. So it's my one advice to everyone that get through a lot of projects because you never know which one project sticks with you.
That's a very good insight. Let's talk about Kosho, the Strategy Society. You founded Kosho, the Strategy Society, which has become a platform for many UPS students that look up to. How did the idea of Kosho come about?
Actually, in the very first year, this idea was of Sarvesh Tripathi, sir, my colleagues, Afsar Bhai, Ayush, Karthik, and me. But for some reason, due to some paperwork and everything, it got delayed a little. It got delayed until Sarvesh sir actually picked it up. Forming a society is a lot difficult than I actually expected because you have to set things all from ground up. You have to get the team together. You have to instill that faith, belief. So it was a complete team effort to actually get it up and running. And the major idea why we actually wanted our consulting club at UPS was because while we were taking part in multiple consulting days, what all we have case competitions, only Digvijay institutes had the consulting clubs. And the teams that were coming and taking part in those competitions, they had one thing in common that we are all part of that consulting club. And that consulting club was giving them an exposure to real life problem solving. So one thing is theory, another one is how you actually apply it. So they are getting these very small projects, real time projects, live projects, and they were using it to enhance their problem solving capabilities a lot. So that was a time we realized, it's high time that UPS has its own consulting club. And that's how the idea of Koshu came about and then Koshu.
How do you think clubs and student societies like Koshus help MBA students grow personally and professionally?
Related to this, there are two things. Number one, there are two types of students who actually come into MBA. One is people who are freshers. Another ones are the ones who carry with them certain amount of experience. Now, to a large extent, what even my cohort had a lot of freshers. When you get involved with clubs and societies and different events that we have, it does a lot to your people management skills. It does a lot to your attitude also because you do planning, you do budgeting, but then there is a moment where everything falls apart. But you still have to go through the entire thing. So you improvise a lot, and that is something which helps you immensely when you come into the industry itself. I am in Suzlon. I'm at Suzlon, and it's one of the stalwarts of renewable energy when we talk about things. Even here, there is some sort of lag between planning and execution. And here, your ability to come up with an improvised solution really matters. So when you talk about clubs and societies, firstly, it's all about taking initiative. So that is something that you develop. You develop how to get things done from the team itself. So how the team works, how the team dynamic works, how internal politics works, all those things. And you have to take care. At the end of the day, you have to get that event done exactly the way you want it. So there will be team members who will be absent during the key events. There will be certain disagreements, constructive disagreements that will be happening. So you have to manage that all. And it only takes one or two events for you to be really good at it. But to have those one or two events, you have to be a part of either a society or a club. So that is because, like you said, you are also trying to get a club up and running. So this experience of yours, because after a couple of weeks, and I'll help you out with that also, how to get certain things done in certain way. You will know that there is this thing, and it requires this much amount of patience, this much amount of time. And if I could use this connection of mine, I could actually bypass this. So to develop that street smartness, you need to get in touch with as many people as possible. And the best way to do that in college is get into clubs and societies, take part in events, be the volunteer. I see this in a lot of students, and everyone is like, yeah, मेरे को ये volunteer करनी है. I don't want to be a volunteer. Give me a position. I want to be president. I want to be a vice president. If you are able to be a vice president or president, it's okay. But even if you are a team member and there was a certain task allotted to you and you got it done with utmost precision, there's nothing like it.
So that point I completely agree because you can learn strategy in the classroom, but you have to apply it through initiatives like Koshu and other clubs. You have to apply them, and it gives you different learning experience also. So,
Absolutely.
so the next question, along with finding Koshu, you were also a class representative. Balancing academics, leadership, and personal development can be challenging. How did you manage it all?
Well, that's a very nice word you use. How did I manage it? So, while doing MBA, you have to always ensure that you have your priorities set. So, being a class representative meant that every day, 30 to 45 minutes, I had to spend extra. And the main reason why I had to spend that extra was because I had the responsibility of sustaining of my other colleagues. So the very starting of letting us to have a very nice person as a mentor to me, Sunil Patwalsa. So he made it very sure that Digvijay, because you are a class representative, you are always to ensure a very smooth communication between students and faculty members. So that was something that was very clear from the very start that I need to spend 30 to 50 minutes every day. So that I did. Uh, when it came to managing my academics, so this is something that I would like to put across all the students who are doing MBA. The main reason why you are there in that particular college is to pursue MBA, is to gain those skill sets. And the primary skill sets that you are expected to gain are those 20 or 25 core subjects that will be taught. Class representative, presidentship, case competitions, all these things are extra. So academic is a priority, it always will be. So you have to manage everything around it. So there were certain days, for example, there were certain presentations. At the end of the semester, it got very hectic for class representative because at that time, Orange Portal wasn't working. So right from attendance to everything, we had to manage it on spreadsheets. So you'll always know what next 2 or 3 days will be there, the amount of tasks that will be there for you as a class representative. So you have to manage your workload as a student very nicely. So if there is any assignment that we have to submit on Friday, you have to get it done a week before or maybe a day before. And there will be certain days where you just had to skip shape. So managing leadership, because I was also a co-convener of marketing conferences, that was also a national level competition that we organized. So it's always about playing with your priorities. There will be certain days where you have absolutely nothing to do with leadership roles, so you have to spend that much more time on your academics. Saturday, Sundays, you'll have to sacrifice them so you only show. Because along with all the things that you mentioned, there is an aspect that has never been mentioned ever before, which is I also did almost all the marathons. I did all the bike rides. I did most of the treks in my cohort itself. So everything can be managed. All you need to be really careful about is that you have to be very wise with how you play with your time and prioritize. So if there is an important event coming up, you have to put in more hours for that without compromising on your academics.
So it's interesting how these small lessons shape our professional mindset also. Na? So the next one, if you had to pick one learning from your MBA at UPES that you still apply at work today, what would that be?
Uh, there are quite a few learnings, but if I have to put one at the top, it will always be something that directors told to us that spend as much time with the professors as possible. So here I don't have professors, but I have people who have 17 plus years of experience. Because what they do is they break down things in a very structured way. They make complex things look very simple because they have already been there. So they tell you certain areas, for example, that if these three things are going there, and let's solve it. That is one thing that always helped me. And even if I have to tell, if I learned 100% during my MBA, 80% of what I learned was with my professor outside my classroom. So this is something that I also ask all the other students to please keep in mind that spend as much time with your professor that as much as possible.
That's one point that students are afraid that teacher might not get irritated.
No, listen, no teacher will ever get irritated if you are respectful enough because uh, I'll give you few examples itself. So we had this business model innovation in the root, sir.
Okay.
And as kind and excellent professor is, he himself has a very tight schedule. As much as he wanted to help me with certain queries that I had, he wasn't finding enough time. So as a student, it's our responsibility to keep pursuing them, but in a very respectful way.
Yeah.
So whenever I met sir, if you have those 5 minutes, never say I need 1 hour. So do we have 5 minutes? Do we have 10 minutes? And sir was very polite and very naughty. But today I have everything planned up. I waited till 6. And while he was about to leave, I would just go and pop in and say, sir, now for 8 minutes. Acha, haan, come. And then those 5 minutes got stretched to 1 hour in no time. So as students, we should never have that firstly that, yeah, Sunday mana gaya, gaya, main gaya. He is occupied. The moment you find him free even for 5 minutes, there is no teacher who will ever get irritated. The only time when a teacher gets irritated is when you go with a slightly disrespectful tone. Sir, I've been coming to you from the past 3 days. You don't have time. Now, if you say this, then anyone will get irritated.
So now let's talk about your corporate journey. You are now working at Suzlon Energy Limited, one of the leaders in India's renewable energy space. What was the transition like from student life to corporate life?
And much because my professors were from day one, they were very clear that, we will not be treating you as students, but more like corporate citizens. So for me personally, it wasn't that big of a shift. In fact, for the first 1 month, I felt at ease because the amount of rigorous work that we were being made to do in our MBA, over there it was only what, like 50-60%. The only thing that was challenging was because it was a very new vertical for me, the renewables, and then in renewables also wind sector. So there were a lot of technicalities involved. But again, those lessons that we did learn during the MBA, right, spending as much time with your seniors and all of that. So that really helped me a lot. So it only took me 1 month to get a complete holistic understanding of how, not the details, but holistic understanding that, how this vertical actually works. So in that case, I had a relatively smooth transition from MBA to corporate.
Sir, I wanted to ask something that student might need to know that whenever you are doing a project or some assignment, there is always a thought in the back of your mind: is this relevant? Will this be able to help me? So, what do you think about that?
And if there is one thing that I believe even you will agree that no one has seen the future.
Yes, sir.
So every project that you do, there is a certain amount of research that is involved. You never know what you learned maybe 10 years ago might come in handy. So the thing is, whichever project you're doing, give your 110%, not 100%, because that 10% extra that you give us is the one that really makes the difference. For example, if you are given a project that your other colleagues might also be given. Now, teacher knows that, most of the people, and I'm saying this with utmost respect, that almost everyone uses AI.
Yes, yes.
How will you present it? Have you spent that half an hour extra just finding your presentation? Now, that is something that really matters. And there are two types of skill sets. One are the transferable ones, and the another ones which are very limited to that sector itself. Transferable skills is you know how to format in Excel, you know Power BI, you know how to create an excellent PowerPoint presentation, you know how to get those transitions done. So if you have learned those things during the project, irrespective of which project you will be doing in future, you can always use it. And another thing is, uh, there is a food safety license that I have. So I'm a certified internal food safety auditor. Now you might be thinking, into strategy currently is in renewables. What learnings from my food safety can I possibly look and apply? So there is an audit that we do in food safety, which says that these are the non-conformities. This is how we actually design the SOPs. So there is always something that you can do, apply from the learnings of your project into your current. The only thing is you need to just sit, relax, and understand यार उस project में ऐसा क्या था that I can use in this. And don't be very pushy about it. Just because I did a project, I need to apply something from there. But it will just click your mind. कि, "अरे यार, इसमें this framework I applied over there, which was of a complete different vertical, but it works well." So the trick is in any project that is given to you, don't think much, but give you 110% in it. And I can vouch for it. It will help you immensely.
What kind of projects or responsibilities does a management trainee handle, especially in such a dynamic industry?
Uh, this this particular question has no right answer. The main reason being, as a management trainee, you need to understand that company wants to give you responsibilities, but they're very wary about it. That will you be able to do justice? So, if during your MBA or you have certain skill sets which you develop pre-MBA itself, so this is only for people who have certain experience. You for the first 1 or 2 months, they just sit and give you small things that you need to get this done. The more responsibilities you start taking, the more initiatives you start taking, the more happy the company will be and more responsibilities will be given to you. So, like I said, I have 7 key projects with me, which I am overseeing right now. And it's been only 4 months of me actually. Now, because I have had certain experience in digital transformations, I'm overlooking a digital transformation project, which is very key to the turnaround of social. Another very key responsibility that I have, because I have been financial model, I know business model innovation on tools. So there are certain projects which relate to that. So the amount of responsibility and projects given to you are directly proportional to two things. One is the skill sets you have, and second is what kind of attitude you really project. If you're always looking up and saying, please make me part of that particular project. And initially it started the same way for me personally. Sir, could you please actually with this project, I have certain skill sets. I just want to learn more. And when I got patched with that, I put in those extra hours and then I was formally made a part of the project. So that answers your question.
I think many students will find that perspective valuable, sir. So, sir, next one. Every journey has its challenges. Did you ever face self doubt or uncertainty during placements, and how did you deal with it?
I would be lying if I say no. And trust me, this is one thing that every student faces. And if he's not facing, either he's way too smart or he's lying. So, I always, because I have had this conversation with a lot of my juniors also, I say control your controllables. So the only things you can control while being a student is not how many opportunities in which your resume gets shortlisted. That's not in your control. How many opportunities you get rejected, accepted, that's not in your control. One thing that is in your control all the time is your academics. the only way you can improve your chances is to make sure that you excel at your academics, either academics or if you are into case competitions, anything. The thing is, when company comes, they expect that, okay, if you are not a 9 pointer, you are an 8 pointer, or for that matter, 7 pointer also. What excellent things you did in your spare time. So you won the case competitions, great. Good in your marathons, great. Even if you say that I did an all India tour, they will agree. Because what they expect is that this guy is taking decisions. So why I say that you should always focus on your academics is because this is exactly the thing that I started the podcast with. You came into this college to do MBA, to learn certain skill sets that will be taught to you over these 25 subjects. So if you prioritize your academics at number one, so every day, one thing is constant, that are your classes. So there will be weeks where you will have like 8 or 10 interviews. There will be certain weeks so you will have none, but you will have classes every day. So when you are up and running with your professor, I don't understand this. Placements happen, they just happen. There is no logic behind it. So it will just happen because for me, if I have to tell, it was the last working day of third semester. And it was on and if I even slated checks for that particular ended, there's that certain schools from our uh, batch, they weren't being able to make it to that particular event because there was another company. So then Digvijay, you like, and I can go and sit in that meeting. So he just went and we sat, but because he was so involved in our academics, so mentally we were very clear. And trust me, mostly what we learned in our last week consulting class, strategy class. So that was the primary discussion during the group discussion that we had. So always make sure that when we talk about placements, put your academics over here and then put your placements over here. Be very smart about your placements. And if you're not having self-doubt, there is something very wrong with you. But at the same time, I always made me remember that, I'm good at what I do. I'm in the top 5% of my cohort. If I don't get selected, then no one.
Yes, sir.
So your responsibility is to be in that top, 5% of your cohort, irrespective of whether you are a president, you are a class representative, you want to do this, you want to do that. That is all secondary. Try to win that top 10 or 5%, always.
Yes, sir. Sir, was there any particular strategy or daily routine that helped you stay focused or confident during that phase? I think many of the students would want to know that.
Well, many would want to know, but I am pretty sure 99.99% will feel that is easier to set a boring life. So every single day, and this is something that I realized during the first 15 days itself, that I need to have a very fixed routine. Otherwise, being a class representative at a time when all these portals weren't working was extremely challenging for me. So I tried fixing my nights, but then you cannot control how your day goes. So there were certain days I was so tired and at night I was like, no, I don't want to do it. So what I did was every day from 10 onwards until now, 4 a.m. is the time I wake up, and 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. those 4 are the so I get most of the things done during that time itself, and then the entire day I just go by. So this is one schedule that I have stuck irrespective Saturdays or Sundays, and this is some of the things that I would, if possible, please do so because it's only your morning should be control. Being in MBA, your day, evenings, night, they'll never be in your control.
Sir, I
And this
think,
means that even if you slept at 2 a.m. in the morning, you still need to wake up at 4.
yes, sir. From your experience, what top three skills should every MBA strategy or consulting student should focus on?
Top three skills. Number one, learn to listen. Number two, will be storytelling, hands down. Number three will be, how to make those amazing presentations.
So,
And of all these three things, presentation is something that mostly people know. Storytelling is that nobody really focuses on. We were extremely lucky we had a Granny man who actually taught us the entire storytelling part. And to be honest, Lalit, if you really know this storytelling by heart, so there is this picha gucha that will be happening sooner or later in the PS. Make sure that you take part in it.
Chris,
Nothing can teach you storytelling like it. Number one was learn to listen, because a lot many times what happens is that we are so eager to answer. We are so eager to, tell people that we have a solution. 9 out of 10 times, and this is something that KPMG taught us over a period of 4 months. And across those 4 months, there was only one thing common, which was that you identified the wrong problems too. Or there was an aspect of problem statement you didn't clarify. So now you imagine we spent 4 months building a solution without understanding the problem itself. So being a consultant, these skill sets, one, listen, 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 listen. And when you think that you know entire thing, again spend one more day just looking at that problem statement, that is there anything in this that I need to clarify before you move to solutions. Because being a consultant is never about that I know everything. Because earlier, for the first semester, you're like, I want to go for consultant banna hai. We will be having answers to all the questions. No. Right now, we are interacting with top 4 or 5 consulting firms on a daily basis. And one thing that is common in all of them, they all come up with that reason that I need to get the right question. They never got we know all the answers. They come and they are like of this. They think you need to know what to find answers for.
since you mentioned about storytelling, in consulting, tools like Excel, PowerPoint, and Power BI are often emphasized. Do you think these tools plays a major role, or is it more about structured thinking or communication?
I'll give you an example from my work itself. So when I asked for a data set, I was shared an Excel file which has what like 8 lakh rows. So now there was one thing that I could create all those charts in Excel itself, but then that takes firstly a lot of time to me, and secondly it is not dynamic. Now when you have a good pick on Excel, also partly it matters, but more so when you talk about PPT and Power BI. When I showed it to the top management, these are the certain factors, and if we change them or tweak them just by 0.5%, this is the effect that it is having. So when you talk about Excel, when you talk about PowerPoint, when you talk about Power BI, or for that matter, Tableau also, these are only the tools and mediums. So if you have to go from here to there, these tools can make this journey very easy for you. So at the end of the day, if you are a manager, you want to get a certain thing approved, or you want a certain message to be conveyed to the person in the most efficient of ways. So if the problem solving approach or attitude will make you understand that, okay, I need this. But when you have a very strong hand on these three tools, you can get the same thing done in 2 days, which otherwise would have taken what like 8 or 10 meetings. Because every time you'll go to them, they'll be like, because those are very senior folks. And they'll be like, Digvijay, have you thought about this scenario? And you're like, yes, sir, I can show you. You just click on that particular button on Power BI and it shows you that scenario. So, and what if we change this factor by 5%? So, then let's see. Bring it back, bring it back. Okay, so what were you suggesting? So I was suggesting that if we tone it down a little bit. But we did it. They saw the projection and like, good to go. Tell me where to sign and you can get ahead with it. So these are the things that really matter, and these are the things that make you like a magnet. Every team will want to have you in their team. But never be of this belief that just because you know Power BI, you'll be a banker. No. So knowing Power BI, it is one thing. But knowing how to use that in a business case to drive meaningful insights, that is where the magic happens.
So that's a very fascinating outlook, I think I should say, especially because consulting is now touching every domain from sustainability to tech nowadays. So that brings me to my next question. How can students stay relevant and future ready for this evolving business environment?
Uh, Lalit, the answer to this has been, I would say, same across. If you have asked this to me maybe 20 years ago, I would have answered the same thing. To stay relevant, you need to make sure that the skill sets and information that you have are also relevant. In the age that we are currently, you need to be very hands-on with the AI tools that you have on offer. Number two is sustainability and ESG, because now every day that we are actually sitting, and even as we are talking, there is a scope of ESG that is expanding. And if we talk about India in particular, but there are like only 1 or 2% of the companies that are actually practicing the entire ESG and sustainability things. Now, what happens is that when you have a very stringent policies coming, you have certain frameworks, BRSR is coming up. What it does is it makes all the people in industry look outwards, and they want to have people who understand the ESG, because they don't want people who come and explain them, okay, this is ESG, environment, social, and risk governance. They want people who really understand it, who can apply it in their particular domain or industry itself. So when you do a lot of projects, because we were very lucky, we had two amazing professors. One was Shikhar sir and Nini sir. What they did was they made us do case after case of of firms that belong to completely different industries. So I was lucky enough that one of them got into renewables also. So when I came over here, now you just imagine, I am an MBA pass out. I have had no experience in ESG at all. And Suzlon, which is one of the leading renewable and ESG also, in ESG also at City. I had a conversation with the ESG head of Suzlon, and at no point of time, I ever felt that, she was talking something I don't understand. So the reason I say you should focus more on academics, you have one of the best curriculums in India. Trust me, I have people from IIMs sitting with me, and they don't know half the things I've been doing. So you have the best professors, best curriculum. You just need to spend more time with them and the curriculums.
Yes, sir. I think it's about spending more time with curriculum and professors also.
Partly because a lot of professors that we have at UPS, industry, so they're very closely related to industry. They know what industry really wants at this point of time. So they tell you things, because I still remember Shikhar sir sitting and telling, those are the 4 or 5 particular frameworks. They will, you have to be very thorough with it. Neil sir sitting and he's saying that, these are the certain aspects of BRSR that you really, yes, you have to be thorough with it. And that one not have a key later. Now it's very handy.
I have to say that my marketing teacher is also like that, Mr. Rakesh sir. He also gives us a case studies and he also tells about his story, how he was doing in the companies because he has a very long experience of I think 20 plus years. So he knows how the industries work. So he always
Well,
he all
Lalit,
yes
I
sir.
had a good fortune of being a student for what, like 3 or 4 sessions only. But because he was also managing KPMG at that point of time, he was admin, either advisor or planner, something like this. So I interacted with him over 6 months, and he taught me professionalism like nothing. I mean, like, even today, what the teachings that he gave me how to be a very good, a thorough professional, are helping me in ways that I cannot ever be able to communicate that.
He always mentions this point that Gen Z always forgets about what they have read. So, sir, before we wrap up our last session, let's make this a little more fun. A quick rapid fire round, short and spontaneous. First thing that comes to your mind, you have to say that. Okay? One word to describe your MBA journey.
Uh, Enriching, deeply enriching.
Your favorite subject during MBA.
Favorite subject, business model innovation and ESG.
One skill every consultant must master.
And learn to listen.
Strategy or execution.
That's like two parts of the same hand. Uh, I'm a little bit more inclined towards execution.
Morning person or night person.
Morning.
One UPS memory that still makes you smile.
One UPS memory that still makes me smile. Yes. Uh, One UPS memory that still makes me smile is I was the president of Hoshu, and on the final day, Sanjay sir had some health issues, and we were all preparing to take all the events forward without him because he was at the center. And then he just showed up. Trust me, my team, everyone was all smiling that day. That is the best memory that I have. Like, one of the best memories that we
A book, podcast, or resource you would recommend to the MBA student.
have. So two books I won't recommend. I would say that it's a must read if you really want to do or get maximum out of MBA. One is the deep work, and the second one is compound effect. And in this order itself, first read the deep work, and second compound effect. It will only take 5-10 days to get to it, but once you read it, you'll never be same again.
Last one quote or mindset you live by.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just make sure you don't make same mistake twice.
Okay, so that brings us to our last session. That would be advice. If you could go back to your MBA days, what's one thing that you would do differently?
That's one thing. Spend more time with my teachers.
And finally, what advice would you give to MBA students who feel confused or stuck about their career path?
Well, now I can give advice because everyone feels stuck, or they are not very sure whether we should go for this profile or that profile. There is one thing which one of my professors made me sit and told this, that always keep on making decisions. And what that does is, even if you make a wrong decision, you can always correct it. So now that I am in Suzlon, it still applies. So keep your life black and white. Don't make it gray. Black and white means it's either a big yes and everything else is a no. So if you think, this profile is I am interesting, but I'm not very sure whether I should go for it or not. If you're not very sure, it's a clear cut no. If there is anything that you're like, nahi, mere ko karna hai ye. And mind you, you are taking this decision based on all the information that you have up till that moment. Now, it might happen, Lalit, that the very next moment that you took this decision and you applied for that particular job, and the very next moment you come up across a totally new information set, which makes this decision the worst decision of your life. But you have to be at peace with it that when I made this decision, this was the best thing that I could have done. So you need to make as many decisions as possible. And trust me, there are a minimum number of bad decisions you need to make before you level up. So the uh, the better you actually get at decision making, those many mistakes you will be making a lot earlier, and that much more learning you will have, and then you can just level up. So make a lot of decisions, make mistakes, but always make sure that you are always into yes or no, never be into maybes. And
Okay.
if anything is not very clear, that it's a complete yes, it's a complete no.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your story and insights with us. This has been an honest and inspiring conversation. I am sure every student
Anytime.
listening will take away something truly valuable, whether it's clarity, confidence, or a reminder to stay curious and consistent. Thank you so much, sir.
Hi Lalit. So one common question that I get is how to approach these 4 semesters, because people who are coming in the MBAs, a lot of them have this confusion that how should they actually pace these 4 semesters. So if you talk about the first semesters, it consists of all the basic subjects, and the reason why it is so because a lot of people come from a lot of varied backgrounds. Few have experience, few are freshers, few do belong from managerial backgrounds, whereas the others are from the technical. So to create a common background, this is really important, and this is one semester where you don't have to worry about your internships, placements, anything. So you are completely free. So this is also one semester is that you should prioritize your academics. You should also prioritize different case competitions, but case competition should start after you have spent a month or two and you have got a hang about what it is you have got uh, in touch with your professor, so you know how and who to seek help from. So this first semester should be purely on how to create a very, very, very strong base. And my suggestion would be please prioritize your academics at the top, because this is a place where if you know these subjects inside out in the subsequent semesters, it will help you immensely. Now, talking about the semester second, so this is a semester where you slightly start to tilt towards your uh, MBA specialization. So you'll be getting subjects which are now a little bit more refined, which are very much specific now. And also, this is a very crucial semester for you because right after this, you will be going for your internships. So try to learn as much as possible and try to learn skills which are transferable across industries. So get your Excel, Power BI, all these things on point. Learn skills which you can actually apply during your internships, because if you do so, firstly you get to make a very good impression in the industry. You create chances of a PPO also, because they're like, he knows he has that ability to convert his theoretical knowledge into something meaningful or something that can actually help my business. Now comes yeah, before coming to semester 3, treat your internship as something very important, but it is not the most important thing. The goal should be that wherever, irrespective if it's paid or unpaid, you get to learn a lot. So focus a lot on profile. Yes, the company is definitely a thing, but you get into a very good company with not so good profile. So when you sit in an interview, what will you tell? So try to look for profiles where you actually get to learn a lot. Then you come into semester 3. This is by far one of the most challenging uh, semesters for you, because not only that you'll be sitting for a lot of placements, but also because a lot of very crucial subjects will be taught during semester 3 itself, which will help you greatly in the industry. So semester 3 is all about making you more and more and more ready for that particular vertical for which you are actually doing the MBA for. Talking about semester 4, again, a lot of people uh, get very lazy, I would say, in this semester, but you have certain very important subjects, and because the quantity of subjects go down, you can actually spend more and more time. And you also have your dissertation going on for this. So focus a lot on your dissertation. Try to spend as much time with your professors because now you have more time to invest. So one more question is that because semester 3 and semester 4, when we talk about these semesters, they consist of placements. So if you have got placed, so spend as much time in learning skill sets which are more specific to your industry, which will help you greatly when you actually step into the industry itself. A lot of students will have to join in January itself, for which they might miss out on their fourth semester from college. So for them, a big advice, please stay in touch with your professors because your marks in semester 4 still do matter a lot. And for students who still await their placements in semester 4, focus on your academics because that's the only thing you can control. Because there will be certain weeks where you will be having 2-3 companies lined up, whereas there will be certain weeks where you will not be having many companies coming in. So you being shortlisted, you being not shortlisted, you making it to the final round and not making, that's not in your hand. Yes, do sit and discuss with your professors that what might be the reason why you couldn't cross that line. But at the same time, focus the most on your academics. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it will keep you sane. Because when you spend the most time on your academics and in these 2 semesters, you actually are upskilling yourself, and you never know what you learned in the last semester might just click in the another interview that you're sitting the very next day. And because you're so consumed in your academics, you give yourself a little less time to think about all other things that you should not be thinking about. So I hope this answers 2 very crucial questions, which is how do you actually pace your semesters and how to approach your placements. One bonus advice will be to learn how to actually present your resume. A lot of people tell you that you should know your resume inside out, but the art of telling your resume in a way that is uh, a little bit different and unique is what really makes you stand out, because all your cohort members are learning the same subjects. Most of them will be having the same skill sets. So do spend some time on storytelling also.